All right. That's
Oh,
still really loud, isn't it?
and it scares the hell out of me every time I see it. Because I'm just hoping that vehicle that we're traveling on that doesn't just shoot off somewhere into deep space.
No. It's an electric vehicle, so it might shoot through time, but I'm not sure
Okay.
if it'll go off into space. We may
Well,
end up in 1985.
gonna need to make sure that we have our flux capacitor, I suppose.
That's right. That's right. So welcome everybody. Welcome back, Ray. Thank you for being here again. What are we talking about today, Ray?
I'll be damned if I know, but I think it has something to do with the environmental health.
Oh, so we're talking
Yes.
lithium mining today. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it the future? And we have our expert here with us today who knows everything about lithium mining and give us all the details. So let's welcome Mr. Phil.
I mean, an expert on lithium mining.
Yeah.
I love the intro. Thank you for that.
I understand you know everything about lithium mining.
You just put me up on a pedestal that I'm not so sure I can fulfill. But let's go with it.
Gosh, Phil, I do feel bad for you after that introduction. There's only one way to go, and unfortunately, it's down.
I know. He already put me up there, right? That's it. I got.
Oh my gosh, the world's foremost authority on lithium mining.
I know you have a good insight into lithium mining and how it affects battery degradation and capacity and how everything works. So welcome, Phil.
Thank you.
And everybody out there.
Stoked to be here, actually.
Yeah, none of us are experts on lithium mining. We have done our research, but we have opinions, and that's what we're here for.
Yes, indeed.
So, Mr. Phil, what is your well, first off, tell us who you are for all those in the community who haven't yet met you.
I am a CarEdge coach. So I am on every day helping all the members that are part of CarEdge buying and selling vehicles, right? That's what we do. We help everybody every day, along with you, Justice.
That's right. So you're just a CarEdge coach?
Well, I feel like I'm a lot more than that, but I really like to preface that I help people, and that's really
you do. And if I can interject and say, Phil is our head of member support. So when says
that too,
yeah, when he says he helps people, he helps with the entire experience. He is a lot more than just the coaching on there. He's involved in a lot of the back of the scenes and making sure that everyone's experience is great and we can all be on the chat and community together. So, Phil does a lot, and we're very lucky to have him and to steal his time for 30 minutes this morning. So thank you very much for being here.
No, thank you.
So lithium mining, we know we need more lithium. Mines are primarily in China right now has the most mines. Some in
South
Russia.
Africa as well.
South Africa is growing. Where's the most lithium? Is it? I read South America, Australia.
I read currently South America. But the problem is where it's being mined in South America right now. They don't have a lot of water. And what do you need to make lithium? Water.
And lots of it.
Yes.
Lots of it. Yeah.
Does it have to be fresh water? Can it be salt water?
No, it can be salt water. In fact, they're mining, if you want to call it mining the water, going deep into the earth to get what would you call it? It's like brine type water, which would be salt. And then when it gets mined over time, this water will evaporate, and you're left with what's called white gold. And we call that lithium.
I thought that was called Michelle Pfeiffer.
I mean, if you want to, yeah, let's go with that too.
Yeah. That would be for men of a certain age, and I might be at that certain age, my friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is this sustainable? Is lithium mining sustainable? I mean, right now I know we're transferring to EV away from petroleum. I know oil and gas is getting harder and harder to extract. There's less and less of it. So is lithium the future?
I think it has potential, but there's not a whole lot of areas that actually have it. And there's only a finite amount available. So is it the future? I think the short future. I think for long term, we need to start to look for alternatives.
And if I may chime in, I mean part of the issue of lithium mining, whether it be deep earth mining or what they're doing in South America, is it leads to a lot of environmental impacts, soil degradation in the areas where they're doing it in South America, water shortages, diverting water from other communities so that they can actually mine the lithium. So it is the way it impacts surrounding ecosystems and habitats is enough to make you question whether or not this could possibly be the right future. Um, and you can talk about green energy and everything else, but is it really as environmentally friendly as some would like to paint it to be? And so there's some question as to whether or not it is, and some of those impacts are really rather severe when you think about it.
Well, it is right. And then, if you think about it, what happens when that water that's left over in the mining or within the mining process leaks into the water system, and now
Mhm.
you're drinking it. So, what are the effects of this? I mean, I certainly don't want to know or want any of that.
Well,
Eh,
so here's my pushback on that as Evan Denise has here. Lithium is recycled in old batteries, right? So as Tesla says, uh, they're getting like 90% of their batteries, 95% recycled. So once it's mined, you can recycle that over and over and over, right? I mean, not 100%, like, but parts of it are getting recycled. So if the alternative is petrol, then isn't this still a better solution? Because once you get gas out of the ground and you put it in your tank and it burns, it's gone off into the atmosphere and does whatever damage it does there, and that's that. So isn't lithium sort of a better solution to that? Even if it's damaging up front, doesn't that damage get negated by recycling?
how much recycling would you have to do? And if the expected growth in full battery electric vehicles is what everybody's projecting it to be, 2035, we want to be at 50%, 60%, whatever it is, worldwide. How much lithium mining do you have to do initially in order to produce enough lithium so that somewhere down the line you'd be able to actually recycle in great numbers to support future EVs? But right now, it seems like you'd have to do so much mining just to satisfy projections as to what the future of EVs are. I personally, I don't see it. Unfortunately, I am not a world-class lithium mining expert like Phil, but I'm just a dumb old college dropout and trying to apply some common sense to it. And at least in my mind, the common sense says no. This is not necessarily the way to go. And you'd have to extract so much at it at such a deep environmental cost before you can start really recycling it to any great degree. I don't see that as the solution. I think perhaps we need to find other technologies.
So when we're talking about this versus solution here, so we're talking versus other EV alternative energy solutions, because it seems like compared to gas and oil, like those damage the environment both when you mine them and then when you use them and consume them. So it seemed like lithium to me would be a better solution in that you're only damaging once, so to speak, rather than continuously with gas and oil. Or are we talking about what other kind of technologies are we talking about that are alternatives to lithium if we are talking about EVs?
Solid state batteries, perhaps, hydrogen powered cars. There's got to be other ways. It just seems to me that so many of the manufacturers just jumped on the battery electric bandwagon, whether or not that is really the best way to go. Maybe for the short term, it's the best way to go because it's all we know at this point, or it's all we've really developed at this point. But in the long term, is it really the best way to go? I don't know. I don't claim to have answers. Being a curmudgeon, I claim to have questions.
Yeah, and James here says, don't forget sodium batteries are being developed as well. Solid state will have less lithium, but not no lithium. I know that. I know sodium batteries are a big thing. I don't know about nuclear fission batteries. I don't know anything about those.
I certainly don't.
I don't either.
Yeah.
And
coming from the lithium, guru and leader of all lithium. Yeah, so I know nothing about that.
So Igor has a point here that I would like to touch on too. There's a huge political and economical divide between the Western countries and countries in opposition to the West that actually have lithium at the moment.
Yes.
So China, Russia, etc. However, most lithium deposits are not in those countries. Actually, most lithium deposits are in very pro-Western government areas, but we just haven't extracted it yet. So would moving to lithium be better for the U.S. by getting those other countries on board in the long run?
Well,
I would say probably yes.
So we won't be depending on the Middle East, for example, with several countries that don't like us over there.
Well, I know here in America, we're looking to mine lithium.
Right up above me, right in Nevada, we're opening lithium.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be quite a bit of investment in this lithium mining because that's what we've got right now. That's actually working. I mean, if you want to call it working, that's what we're using to make these batteries to power these cars. And look, I mean, we're talking about being 60% all electric by 2030, which I don't even know if that's going to happen. I highly doubt that. But obviously they're going to make quite the investment to make sure that they can at least try to get to that point. But again, just going to create more mining and more areas of environmental impact.
What do you think, Ray?
Well, I think by the time that we really figure it all out, when 10 years from now or 20 years from now, when historically we look back at this time and we say to ourselves, how could we have been so stupid to think that doing lithium mining rare mineral mining, cobalt, manganese, all. How could we have been so stupid to think that it itself wouldn't have had as equal an environmental impact as the use of natural gas and oils? That's what I think is going to happen. We're going to look back 20 years from now. Well, you kids will. I won't be here, and you'll and they'll go, "Oh gosh, we probably really should have seen that coming."
So you
Ray,
think
maybe
it's going to
do? Maybe they do see it coming. Maybe they're just turning a blind eye. Maybe it's political reasons. Maybe it's whatever's going on.
Could very well be.
I mean, this is such a political issue with even EVs coming out, right? I mean, we've got government push for this. We've got and then also trying to figure out if mining this stuff is going to be safe, right? And I still think that there's going to be ecological and issues with the environment doing that. So it's like one or the other. And then not to mention having to build up the whole infrastructure. And I know you guys talked about this the other day, but with the power grid.
Yeah, we'll have to do a power grid. Maybe we'll bring you back for a power grid episode, Phil, because that's definitely one that I'm passionate about. I know we have to make that change. But so Ray, you said, in 20 years, when you will definitely still be here with us, you'll only be 91 years young, Ray. So you'll be fine.
Yes. Maybe I'll be fully electric by then.
That's right. That's right. I do believe Neuralink can help you out there. That Elon Musk owned company can help implant all this stuff. Then you could just transfer into a robot and be with us forever.
Oh gosh!
Wouldn't you like to do that?
I would not.
But as you said, you think in 20 years, lithium will be seen as just as environmentally destructive as gas and oil?
I think what will happen, this is just my opinion, what will happen, there's so many minerals that are involved. I actually took notes, ladies and gentlemen. I wrote it down. The metals and minerals that are needed: copper, lithium, cobalt, graphite, manganese, nickel, rare earth minerals. So when it's not just lithium. So for cars and trucks to all be EVs in the future, when you take into consideration all of the damage that you're doing to the earth and the unintended consequences of some of these mining efforts, and there's always unintended consequences, there's always collateral damage. I think 20 years from now, when the world looks back at this, we're going to go, well, that wasn't as bright as we thought it was. That really wasn't necessarily the solution that we had hoped it would be. So it's just my guess that, after having done more research, we'll realize that doing this was equally as impactful in a negative fashion on our environment as burning gas and oil. That's what I think is going to happen.
Looks like Evan agrees with you here that after new technologies come along and maybe, as always, everyone agrees with Ray. Can someone agree with me, please? Yeah, well, I don't know. But consumer, this is not the final answer. I agree with that. No. I think this is the first step in a transition to that. Maybe this is the easiest. I mean, I definitely go, you guys all remember the original cell phone batteries where you couldn't charge until it died almost, because otherwise it had a memory in it. And now
you had to fully charge it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you had to fully charge it so it knew where its capacity was.
Yeah. So like, and we don't worry about that anymore, right? And now the LFP batteries out from Tesla, where if you don't have the LFP, don't charge up to 100% because you could degrade the battery over time. The new LFP, you need to charge to 100% at least once a week. You should always be charging to 100%. It's good for the battery. So I think technologies are changing. Um, so
Let's,
I
you
agree
know,
that this is just a tipping point, but I think our community here seems to be that there's a political, a geopolitical component to all of it, as energy always is. Um, and how are we going to be countering that? To me, my counter to that is the places with the most lithium are actually very pro America. Not the places with most mines right now, but the places with most lithium.
why don't we just make and concentrate on hybrid instead of pushing for mining more and more to fulfill a need to make full EVs when we could continue to develop and use EVs and then make the technology better for batteries. If whatever that means to produce them in a way that's not going to hurt the environment or be an issue in that regard, let's stay high. I don't understand why we're not focusing on just doing hybrid, and then getting our technology better for the batteries.
Well, let me let Ray
That's
answer that before I come with my perspective and answer that.
Well, I think hybrids are a natural bridge to get people to full
yes.
electric, and you can produce many more hybrids with the same amount of lithium for batteries than you can just fully battery electric vehicles. You can make the lithium stretch further, so you don't need as much of it initially. Um, so are hybrids the answer? Is there some hybrid technology that would allow us to continue to use fossil fuels while cutting back emissions and saving the planet? Is there? I mean, why does it have to be one extreme or the other? There has to be something in the middle that can satisfy both. Just me.
So let me let me put my perspective. Kimberly, I know you're in the chat. Jump in on here. My hybrid Kia Optima has a lifetime engine recall on it because the hybrid technology management system can get out of control and it could spontaneously burst into flames. A lot of Honda Kias are on this. When you look at the engine fires, the highest by a wide margin is hybrid. It is, we look at it as the best of both worlds, but really it's also the worst of both worlds. Is the hybrid technology is most likely to catch fire by a lot, like double ICE vehicles. And ICE vehicles are like 30 times more than EVs. So there's a safety factor involved in that. I understand resource and materials, but I think there's a danger component involved in it. I know Kimberly, who has I believe Hyundai, also has a lifetime recall on her engine for the same reason. So my pushback on everyone transitioning to hybrids is, first off, we have been for a while. Hybrids have been around for a long time. Toyota, Honda really sort of perfected those. But they're not as safe as EVs. We're not going to get into autonomous driving. We'll let Kimberly deal with that on Monday. But we'll get into the technology that hybrid is really the worst of both worlds, I think, because you're mining lithium and cobalt and burning gas. So you're finding the best way to destroy the environment that you possibly can. Let's destroy it in all the ways possible rather than just one or the other. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong. Because
Okay.
I don't honestly believe that there's a one or another. Okay, I think honestly, realistically, there's combinations of things. Not it's one way or the other way. And I think that I almost equate this to the same as car dealers and automobile manufacturers when it comes to governments involved in this. Okay, they are reactive instead of proactive. So reactively speaking, everybody's going, we got to jump on EVs. We got to be battery electric. Okay, proactive might say there's issues with that. There's issues with gas and diesel. Let's find something that can help bridge that one way or the other, while doing good things for everyone. So I subscribe to the theory that governments, like businesses, are reactive, not proactive. And it's not proactive to say, for instance, in California, we're going to ban the sale of gasoline engine vehicles. Just like it's not proactive for the U.S. government to say, well, we'd like to see 50% of all vehicles sold in the United States be electric vehicles by 2030. Those are dreams. They that's not being proactive to say, hey, I had a dream last night.
But some of the most inspirational change came from people who had a dream and shared it with us.
True. Yeah, Steve Jobs and what did we end up with? What was that, the musical device? I forget what it was.
The
what
iPod.
Was that called? Okay. Yeah,
I had
was a
reference
dream
to Dr. King, but you want to go with Steve Jobs? We should go with Steve Jobs.
Well, because one's
two men with different dreams.
Different dreams, but one truly changed the way of the world and convinced us that there was something we didn't know we needed, but we needed it. Okay, and that was Steve Jobs. Okay.
I will say that they both changed the way of the world. One just sold us a technology we didn't even know we wanted.
We needed.
Yeah. Yes. I will agree with that.
Yeah. Okay. I'll agree with that.
And then we ended up with TikTok.
Yes.
No.
So
we don't. That's not a good thing. That's definitely not a good thing.
So we're almost out of our time here. This goes so fast when in this format. Phil, I'll give you time for your parting thoughts on this.
I still think lithium is obviously going to be used. How do we do it and mine it safely? I still think that in the coming years, we're not even going to be using lithium. It's going to be my thought on this. Some new technology is going to come out. But in the meantime, we're looking to double down on lithium and start mining it everywhere we can to push if you want to call it an agenda, to push EVs out, right? I know everyone here talks about the separate systems in a hybrid that can go wrong, and I understand that things happen, right? We've talked about how straight EVs are blowing up in your driveway, right? I know that's kind of an exaggeration, right? But batteries catch on fire. Issues with those systems are current. So are with hybrid. There's going to be an issue no matter what side you're on. It's how we deal with them. It's how we correct the issue, how we move forward and develop the best technology in the appropriate time that we need. So use the hybrid technology, maybe perfect that. Let's get our battery technology good so it's safe for the masses. Let's get the right technology to build the batteries and make it safe for the economy and for Earth. There are so many ways to think about this. It's frustrating because of that political push for this to be done and now, and really no in between.
So
that's my rant.
I just want to ask one clarifying question on that for your final thoughts on the political push. So do you believe that the political push is because of environmental reasons?
I believe it is, yes.
Okay. So then what would the, like, if they're saying that hybrids, you're going to have your final thought next, Ray. I will let you come back on that because I know you have thoughts there. So if it's environmental reasons, then, and they're saying we're at the threshold, we're at that point
Who's saying
of no return. Well, current administration, lots of scientists, previous administrations.
I mean,
there's documentaries.
Now this is not very scientific, but this is an opinion, right?
This is an opinion show, so please, everyone understand.
Maybe this is just more of an understanding, but has the Earth gone through wild temperature changes throughout its whole life?
So what you're saying is we need to have a environmental debate on one of our episodes at some point.
I think that might be coming, yes.
I would love to hear in chat and in the comments if that's something you want to talk about, and we can have, because I think there's lots of opinions on that and certainly lots of debate on those facts. All right, let's go to Ray, because I think Ray might have some thoughts about all this.
I was just going to say that we're doing this for the environmental health of Earth. I believe is a ruse. Okay. What we're doing it for is for profits. Okay. For businesses to sustain themselves, to build themselves, to continue the economic growth, perhaps in some lesser developed countries than we have in the past. But the environmental issues of it all, the reason that it all has to happen so fast, is just a ruse in order for these major corporations to make major money and get major governmental benefits so that they can make even more money under the ruse of we're helping to save the environment. Does it have some environmental impact? Yes. But the political and economic impacts of this is even greater. And those who are in power politically are the ones who are going to line their pockets the most. Okay, so it has nothing to do with the environment. It has everything to do with the wealth that politicians around the world are trying to accumulate, along with those giant ass corporations. That's just me. But that's, in my cynical way, that's how I see
it. All right, so I am supposed to now come in and rebut political and corporate greed.
Yeah, good luck.
Well, I will say this. I don't think Tesla started for greed. I will say that they make more money per vehicle than Toyota does. So, there might be something to that. But I don't think that was their mission when they're starting. I think they fully believed in transitioning the world to a cleaner, better environmental impact vehicle. And I think them putting all the money into their infrastructure and everything else. Them now opening up their chargers across the United States to everybody, while being paid $7.6 billion by the government
for that. Yeah.
to do that. But that doesn't mean that's why they're doing it.
Yes, it does.
I would argue differently, Justice. But
but may I say on that, by the way, as a Tesla owner, that's horrible. I don't want to see this happen. I don't want the network open to everybody. I already have to wait sometimes to charge my vehicle. I can't imagine someone with a Bolt or a Hummer EV that has to sit there for 2 freaking hours charging while I try to pull up to my charger. So, yes, I think there is something of the follow the money, but I think that's always been the case, as you indicated, Ray. It's the government gives $500 million a year to the auto industry, who turns around and gives $80 million a year to lobbyists to pay politicians. Politicians are getting taxpayer money in form of lobbyists, I think. So that's all not new in this. I'm not sure that this push to EV is based on that. I'm going to take most people's word that they're concerned about the environment and that this seems like the better push. As so many people have said here, is the technology perfect? No, but it's an incremental step. It is better than oil and gas over the long run. Yes, one thing that we haven't pointed out here, but I know has been said on our shows many, many times. Yes, they take diesel to put into the ships, to take the lithium from the mines to get it power. So yes, that is true. Absolutely, without a doubt. There's something there to be said for that. But still, over the long run, this is an incremental step to getting the environment to a better place, the economy to a better place. And I will say, for me personally, even if I took the environmental impact out of it, I still go, when I walk behind an EV, I don't have to hold my breath so I'm not breathing in the exhaust. So for me, there's a physical health reason. And if I get solar on my roof and I have a battery wall charger at home, I am now less dependent on foreign energy than anybody else. And I think that is a really big hit for me. And it's very important to me to not be so dependent on people who don't like us. And yes, lithium right now comes from those people who don't like us. But we're getting away from that. Canada is building some lithium mines. They may not like us very much, but they're kind to us. So I've been to Canada. I can tell you, they're not thinking real highly of us, but at least they're nice about it. South America, ditto. Australia loves us. They got a ton of lithium down there. They're opening, I think, 4 mines coming up. They have already approved. So I think the transition could be out there. And so I see this as a positive step forward. Is this the end step? No. Sodium, probably solid state, whatever technology I don't know about. There's a lot of people in our chat who know a lot more about that than I do. So, I think there's a way forward here, and this is just the step. And look, I got somebody on my side.
Of course you do. Of course.
And it's Happy Hippo. I could not have a better person on my side.
Well, I think this has been fun today. And I don't know about everybody else, but I certainly learned a lot. And I think it's great, if I may take a moment, to say that the 3 of us could sit here today and have a civilized discussion about what the future might look like when it comes to EVs and the environment. And without name calling, without saying someone's crazy, without hysterics, without fear. So if I may, thank you, Justice, for having come up with this idea and inviting me to be a part of it.
And thank you, Ray and Phil, for nobody really else knows this, but Phil really helped me come up and refine this as well. He was an integral part in my discussions in what to do with CarEdge Electric when Justin wanted to sort of step away because he's so busy. So, Phil really helped a lot here. So lots of credit to him. Thank you both for being here. I have lots of fun. I hope everyone's having fun in these debates. Remember, this is an opinion show. So if you have a lot of facts that we're missing, I don't know about these other two guys, but I ain't so smart on everything. So I may not have all.
I'm definitely not. Yeah.
My Justice, my lithium IQ went down quite a bit because when you put me up on that pedestal, now I have come down because my expertise of lithium is now out there. I'm down.
Yeah, I mean, and Donald has this right here. This situation and everything we talk about on this show is so much more complex than what we can get into even on this show. There are different sides to everything. We try to present them in a palatable fashion where we can disagree civilly. And we don't have to call names. You can clearly see who's wrong and who's right.
Oh wow!
In this.
Look at that.
And I'm not gonna say names. We don't have to do that. That's up to everyone to decide for themselves.
That is what makes a great debate.
That's right. So thank you very much for being here, everyone. We really appreciate
Thanks,
all
Phil.
the comments. Sorry we couldn't get to all the
Thank
comments.
you, Ray.
Yes, thank you, Phil. And we will be back on Friday, but we will be plugged back in with our host, Justin Fisher, back. Yay, everyone. So Justin will try to be here every Friday for the news you can use from the EV world for the week. We will not be debating Justin on the news because it's news.
Yeah,
I don't know
how
what
do
you
you
debate about that.
Yeah.
That's right. No name calling, just some finger pointing.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, everyone. Have a great week, and we'll see everyone back here on Friday.
Thanks, Justice.